Welcome to another tutorial. This time I'm going to take another look at Bijou, which is a Euclidean step sequencer that is coming out today from K-Teck, and you can visit their website k-teck.co.uk. I've been helping Dave, the designer, do some testing on this, and I did a video back on Twitch about a week ago, but I wanted to do another one with the latest release here and maybe do a couple different techniques. So without further ado, we will jump into Ableton here. So in order to use this, I'm actually going to go ahead and remove this and start over so you can see where I started here. I've got the device here after I've downloaded the Max for Live patch, and I'm just going to drag that onto a Midi track. And if I hit spacebar, we'll see that it'll start lighting up, but of course I don't hear anything because I need an instrument. So I'm just going to start with a basic wavetable instrument here to get a generic sound, and then going to hit spacebar. Okay. So some of the basic settings here, I'm just going to kind of go through and change some things, and you can listen to what's happening. Okay, so it's going to change our clock division there, basically. But if I change this, I can also change my divider. Now, one of the things that's really nice about this is you can start working with some odd numbers here. We see each place where there's got 5 potential hits out of 7 potential spots here. And we've got 2 sequences that are running here. We've got the top sequence here, S1, and the bottom sequence, S2. And we can actually start to use those to combine and modulate parameters of this sequencer. So I'm just going to kind of do some improvising here to start building something interesting. And I'm going to actually use multiple copies of this sequencer to do that. So let's take the tempo down a little bit. And I'm going to use a harmonic minor scale here. Now there is a built-in modulation option for velocity. So I'm taking this first sequence here, and whatever this curve is going to be used to modulate the velocity, as well as modulating the note. But what I like to do is actually bring in a standalone velocity, because then I can also use some randomness on that velocity here and build a whole special curve just for that. So I'm going to use that first sequence to modulate the R1, which is when this is pressed manually, it randomizes whatever step this is on. So we could see the step number 3 here is being randomized each time that's hit there. So I can actually kind of use this to really make this modulate all over the place here eventually. Okay. So there's our one voice. I'm actually going to bring in another voice here. Let's look at some of my, I definitely do want to do a bass line eventually. So I'm going to bring in a bass. I'm going to do another MIDI track, and I'm going to make this another voice of some sort. Let's do a, maybe a kalimba. That's fine. And I'm going to put another Bijou on that kalimba. So let's listen to the kalimba just by itself. I want to make sure I'm in the same key, same scale. But this one I'm going to make 16th notes. Let's listen to that together with this. And just so we can differentiate these a bit, I'm going to pan these. Now in the first voice I had 7 steps and 5 as my fill. On this one I want to change this up and maybe make this 9 over or 11 over 9. Get some gaps in here. And just like I did here where I used a sequence to modulate, I'm going to use the bottom sequence here to modulate my R2 and my RF2. Let's bring in another sequencer for this bass line here. But for the bass line, I want to have longer notes. So I definitely want this to have, let's see. Make sure I have the right scale. I'm just going to leave this steps 8 on this, but I am going to modulate this a little bit so you can add the sequences, and I'm going to use that to change this top one. You can also subtract the sequences just to add some variety. So let's see what I have on my okay, and I want to add some variety to my velocity, and I also want to make sure that my pitch is always on the low end here, so I got a really good bass voice there. Now, of course, if we liked what we were hearing here, and this is just an idea, but if we liked what we were hearing, I could put in a MIDI track here, arm that track, and select the MIDI in for one of my voices here. So let's try the wavetable. And if I hit play and I record a clip, I'm going to get the MIDI that's coming off of that sequencer. So I've got a little bit of that one. And now I'm not going to hear that yet because I have to give that an instrument to play through. If I want to put it on this track to play it back, I want to make sure that I turn the sequencer off so that I don't get a double there. And now actually get this part that I recorded. And if I liked this, but maybe there was something I wanted to move, I could, I could move some stuff around, individual notes or whatever. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll create an entire series of those clips just to get a few ideas, and even just do them all on one track here, so I can select any of these incoming MIDI parts and record them on there. So let's see, let's try one more thing. I want to add some drums to this, which is kind of a little bit outside of this particular tool, but I like to have some drums for this example. So I'm going to use the Instant House plugin, which I like. And I'm going to bring that over here just so I have my drums. Oops. Drums. And I need a drum pack of some sort. Let's go here. Designer drums. And yeah, let's do Drum Essentials. And we'll use one of these just to see what it's like. And we're going to solo this just to see if that's what we want. Let's do something different. Yeah, it might be too intense, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Try something different here. So at least we have a pulse anyway. So getting back to the sequencer here, the one thing I didn't do is I didn't show I could rotate where this steps and fill actually starts and stops. So if I use one of these sequences, I can say rotate based on the sequence. I'm going to turn this back on so we can see that. Now if this other voice here, this voice here is very repetitive, so I might want to change that up a bit. Let's try this. This reset here will be the amount of time it takes for the sequence to reset in beats. That's a little better. see, it doesn't take long to get something going that starts to evolve on its own a bit. So I really enjoy this for generative type pieces. And I'm really only scratching the surface here. There we have it, Bijou Euclidean sequencer by K-Teck. Add some guitar and some sax, and you got something pretty cool. And of course, you can modulate this if you automate your scale here and everything. You can modulate this until your heart's content. So have fun. Let me know if you have questions or thoughts. And thanks to Dave for making this available. And look forward to seeing more.